What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa from Red Devilosa Reviews. This is episode 8 of WandaVision. And before I tell you guys this is a spoiler review, just for those of you that are going to click off, remember this is a 40-minute episode, so this is a bit longer than last week. And remember there is that post-credit scene. You definitely don't want to miss that. And those of you that are staying behind, welcome to my channel, Red Devilosa Reviews. It is currently 4 in the morning. So I took some time to process the episode, and I might be gassing it up a little bit, but I absolutely loved this episode. Oh, maybe if I sleep on it, I might find some issues, but I really doubt it. I absolutely love this episode. This is basically a lot of the background for Wanda, and from the last episode, we found out that Agnes, the nosy neighbor, was Agathas Origins. Now, I don't think that was a difficult twist to call. Like, again, I've been saying Agathas Origins for the longest time, but it was a surprise to some people, and it's cool for them. But yeah, so in this episode, we get to actually see Agathas Origins, and they actually threw in the Salem witch trials, where originally in the comics, Agatha is a original witch during the Salem witch trials, and she's basically put on the stake, and she's confronted against all the witches. They were saying, like, I believe they were saying, like, she was using her magic irresponsibly. I believe I might be wrong, but just making sure. Agatha basically, they try to kill her, the other witches, but the thing is, like, Agatha's like absorbing all of their magic into her, and it eventually turns them into skeletons or zombified beings, I guess. And yeah, it shows a lot of power to Agatha. She's basically the same Catherine Hans, I believe is her name. Could be saying that wrong too. She still looks the same from the Salem witch trials and to the present, so there's that. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. She's a witch. Plus, she also like absorbed like the energy of multiple witches into her body, so I assume that's what's keeping her young. And I kind of found it interesting as like putting that in there, like showing the origins of Agatha, especially with its demonic undertones, but that's a different conversation. Also, we definitely see that magic is going to be I feel like magic is going to be more of a key factor moving forward in this universe. We obviously have Wanda for WandaVision, and then Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to have Elizabeth Olsen in it as well, and we know Doctor Strange and Wanda have that arts and mystic abilities, so I definitely see magic being an important factor in this future MCU. And then you also have the multiverse stuff, but that's a different conversation. So we pick off where we left off. Wanda's in the basement of Agatha's home. She's not able to use her magic because Agatha basically hexed the entire room, so she can't actually do anything. And she just finds it odd, as in Wanda doesn't seem to understand anything about witchcraft, the way that she understands witchcraft. And she's just kind of curious, like, how is it that, for example, like, as I said for the hex, she was saying that's kind of like a basic thing. Like, if you see the hex symbols in the room, that means they have the control of the magic in the room. So it's like and she said that's like very preliminary, like any witch would know that. So it's clear that Wanda doesn't have any sort of knowledge on witchcraft. So she was just trying to goad her, not goad her, but like trying to prod her into like saying, like, you know, how is it that you got your powers? Like, how is it that you were able to do this entire reality all on your own? she's asking all these questions basically, and in order to do that, she moves on, and we get to see a bunch of flashbacks in the episode of Wanda's origins and her upbringings and all of her trials and tribulations that she went through growing up. And this is the part where I can understand where some people say this felt like filler, because again, like, we're talking about the origins of Wanda, but I felt like, again, like, giving me some time to process the episode, I feel like it was necessary, and like, it made sense to the narrative as of right now, like, going into Wanda's psyche, especially since we get more into Agatha's reasonings later in the episode, so I'll come back to that in a second. But yeah, so I actually recently watched Age of Ultron 2 days ago for a different reason, not for WandaVision, and it's not terrible like some people say. I there's some good moments in that movie, even though overall it's not a great film, but there are some really good moments in Age of Ultron. But that's a different conversation. One of the moments is where I believe Pietro, Quicksilver, he tells Ultron their origin basically. Like, they were in their apartment with their parents, and then all of a sudden their house gets bombed, and the first bomb kills their parents. And then there was a second bomb that lands, and on the side you see Stark Industries. We all know who we're referring to, but they see the missile, but it doesn't actually go off. So they actually showed that scene in their perspective, and they casted child actors for the twins, and they basically reenacted that scene. And throughout each of these flashbacks that go on, there's like the whole sitcom aspect of the episode. Like, it's clear that Wanda was attached to the sitcom reality. She was attached to the nuclear family, the husband and wife dynamic that they had in the episodes, and like this whole thing, like, there might be problems, but then all of a sudden they solve them by the end of the episode, which ties back to a lot of the whole sitcom aspect throughout episodes 1 through 7 with that. And yeah, so it's clear that she found sitcoms as a way to, one, connect herself to this new culture, and we'll get to the next what is it, the next scene again. Apologize, early in the morning, in a second. But like, yeah, so that kind of thing was what she was basically associated with in her childhood. And they move on to her getting her powers for the first time, where they put her in a room. This was a brief moment in, I believe, the Winter Soldier, in the post-credit scene. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. The mid-credit scene or something like that, where they show Quicksilver and Wanda were in separate rooms doing their powers. And so this isn't like in the comic runs where they have those two as the twin children of Magneto and their mutants. This is like, they kind of had to change the origins in the Marvel Universe, where they put Wanda in a room with the scepter, the Loki scepter from the other Avenger films, and they put her in the room, and the stone, the Mind Stone, pretty much flashes a light to her, and it gives her powers. And yeah, so they showed that. Again, they showed another scene of her watching sitcoms again, and then the next flashback they show. This is like the time where Pietro died, like right after, and she's at the Avengers compound, and then she was like basically saying, "I'm in a new country, I'm with a bunch of new people, I don't really know anybody, but she's watching another sitcom, and Vision comes into the room, and they're basically, he's trying to cheer her up. Basically, she's very upset about like her whole brother dying and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of great messages in there with the whole, you know, even when we feel hopeless, like we must learn to find our friends in this great need and build that faith in others to be able to move on. And yeah, I'm gonna get back to Elizabeth Olsen in a second because yeah, it's pretty important. And then the final flashback, she is basically storming into the Sword compound. She wants to see Vision, and when she's given access, Hayward and Wanda talk, and she basically tells Hayward that all she wants to do is bury Vision's body. So it turned out, so she was able to see that Hayward was having like all the Sword people like basically dissect his body, like cut it down into pieces. She's like, so she obviously she's not very happy with that, but like she was just trying to explain to, so his assumption is that she was going to try to bring him back to life, but then she was saying like, I can't do that, but I just want to bury his body, like he's still a person, he's my kin, is the way she said it. But then he's saying like, you know, this is a $3 billion vibranium super weapon, like I'm not gonna give you Vision's body to bury. Also, it's technically not hers to give away, or to do that. But so they do show that moment where in a previous episode where Hayward shows Monica Wanda storming into Sword, and he made it sound like she stole the body, but actually in the scene they show Wanda goes through the head of Vision. She tries to touch the space in his head, and I think in Infinity War they had the whole thing. It's like, I can feel you, I can't feel it. In this episode, like she's basically goes back to that, I can't feel anything, and then she leaves. She doesn't take the body. She doesn't fight anybody. She just leaves. So it's clear that Hayward has some sinister implications, and we're gonna come back to Hayward in a second. And Wanda, she just drives off. She drives off to Westview. She goes to the town, and she goes to like an empty, where people will build a house and something like that. And she holds up an envelope, and in the envelope it says, to grow old, like where we'll grow. It's like something like we'll grow old here, and then V, and it's in a heart. And I gotta say, Elizabeth Olsen is absolutely fantastic in this episode. She is showing like multiple layers of emotion throughout this episode. She shows happiness, she shows sadness, grief, anger. She really gets in a big bag of emotions, and she's just fantastic in this episode. And if you guys haven't seen Wind River, starring her and Jeremy Renner, who is Hawkeye, I highly recommend that movie. She's absolutely fantastic. And brings it into this episode as well. She basically breaks down, and she basically expands herself like in rage, and she starts to create the hexagon. She pretty much makes Westview into her sitcom reality, and throughout all that, she's able to produce a vision construct in front of her. Now, in terms of that, actually, I'll get back to that in 1 second. Agatha, throughout these flashbacks, she's trying to like basically get this understanding. So it's like, oh, so like for example, in the missile scene when they were baby twins. They were like saying like, oh, so you were basically able to use your rage, and that gives you your powers, and then okay, the explosion gave you your powers. Like no, the bomb never went off, and then I believe when she does get her powers, like so it's like so you got your powers from an Infinity Stone, and then you were able to give that. Uh, so she's trying to understand like how is it that like she's able to use her magic to do something like this incredible. Uh, and throughout these visions, like she gets the understanding that so basically like you're just doing magic for the sake of doing magic. You're not really getting a lot of the like so she describes it as chaos magic, where she's not really doing it in discipline or any sort of form. She's like literally doing magical abilities with out of emotion, which is something that pisses her off. Now again, I still don't know why at this moment. I think I get her issues, but I'm still not 100% sure. But again, I think I might need another viewing to completely understand it. But I think that's what I got from it. Again, I'm trying to do it as genuine as possible, going off the episode. And yeah, so they have that, and she actually at the end of the episode, she finally calls Wanda Maximoff the Scarlet Witch, and then they go to credits. And so now we can finally call Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch. And that was a great way to bring that up. And yeah, so going to that post-credit scene, Hayward and the rest of the sword agents that are still outside of the hexagon. So because of Wanda having the one of their drones that went in, like her magic from shrinking it was still like magically affecting the drone. They were able to use the magic from there and apply it to what is another Vision construct. And they said like through the multiple uses of Vision's body, they were able to learn how to deconstruct it, construct it again and again. And they have a Vision, and in that it's the white Vision. Now I'm not a big Vision reader. I do know that like there is like a Vision where like he's like completely chalk white. I'm not really sure for what reason. Like if any of you that know the comic or anything like that, or know the story behind it, I'd like to know. So let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, they show a Vision, a white Vision at the end of for the end of that, and it sets up a lot. Definitely going to be a lot of action this last episode. And that was the episode. No commercials this time. I believe all the sitcom stuff is done, so no more. I don't think there's any more commercials. And yeah, so only thing is like I feel like I guess like predicting the next episode. I feel like they might do Vision versus Vision, which the only thing is like, you know, like Marvel had like some issues like regarding doing the good version versus the bad version. And also like we don't really know how this Vision is right now. They just showed us Vision, like white Vision in the box. We still don't know his behavior or anything. He didn't talk or anything like that. So we still don't know what his purpose is. And we also don't know, is this an evil intention or not? We're still not 100% sure. But going off that, yeah, so definitely a lot of setups for the last episode. Again, Elizabeth Olsen was absolutely fantastic in this episode. This is like the best acting I've seen her in this particular character, like Wanda Maximoff. And I highly recommend Wind River. That's a very good movie. And yeah, so if I'm missing anything, just let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's my thoughts on WandaVision episode 8 previously on. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about WandaVision episode 8. Am I gassing it too much? Do you like it as well? Let me know. Thanks for watching. If you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, you can support my channel by clicking the like button, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.